Okay, we're with Granbury School Superintendent Ron Mayfield. And Mr. Mayfield, do you have any regrets about announcing your retirement?
Oh, no. This is 39 years in education for me, so obviously when you get down around 36, 37 years, you start thinking about when you might retire. But when I came to Granbury 2.5 years ago, I really thought I might go 5 years, something like that. With the finance system situation that we have, where the legislature took away $6.4 million from us, that's pretty tough to go through. We've eliminated over 185 positions in the district now, and those are pretty tough times to take. And last week we went down to the Texas Association Mid-Sized School workshop, and we had about 12 legislators there, and they were talking about the future and talking about the next legislative session and talking about the litigation against the state, the lawsuits that the different groups are filing. And they simply said that, it's probably going to be 2015 before you see a turnaround. And so, we're looking at some really tight funding, some bleak times in education. So, having gone through that this past year and the struggles, no, sir, nothing at that conference made me wish I'd changed my mind.
All right. What do you think are some of the highlights during your administration at GISD?
Well, I always think that you want first have a good curriculum, good personnel, and good finances in the district. You get those three things taken care of, we're doing pretty good. And certainly the curriculum department's been doing a great job for a long, long time. We've got some great folks in Granbury. It didn't take long. But, we had a deficit budget when I got here. That first year we had a $3 million deficit budget, and we were able to curtail spending to the point that only ended up being, I think, around $600,000 or $700,000 deficit that we lowered fund balance. We thought we were going to about have a balanced budget for that second year, and then we lost about $500,000 worth of students, and you probably remember that we talked about a lot of times. And then about the time we had that taken care of, then the state took away $6.4 million for this next biennium. I think the high point probably there that we were able to present a balanced budget for this current school year, even though we started in the hole even before the state took it away. And we have a plan for a balanced budget this next year. And I have a message, and we now know that we've got the numbers for a balanced budget this next year. And I joked with some of my board members, provided that when I leave in June, they don't go spend it in July and August. And so the balanced budget, I think that the academics, the high school went unacceptable, and as did the district for completion rate when I first got here. We were able to get that turned around to recognize the next year. We ended up with 3 exemplary campuses that year. I think we had 1 acceptable, and all the rest were recognized. And then we were set in place if they'd have left TPM in place this year, we would have been exemplary as a district. We'd have had 9 out of 10 exemplary campuses and only one recognized. And so, your academics being at the top of the charts has got to be a high point. Your balanced budget's got to be at the top of the charts, and getting some really good folks in place, that's got to be the top of the charts. So, I'd say that's the high points. And strictly just being able to work with a lot of great people in Granbury, Texas. And maybe the high points just living in Granbury,
Right. All right. Well, with the highs, there has to be some lows too. What would those be?
Well, that obviously started in second week of January. That's a no-brainer. Second week of January, we heard the legislature was going to be $15 billion in the hole, and they started looking at projected numbers of Granbury losing anywhere from $3 to $10 to $12 million in a biennium. And I said all spring, beginning in February, if you remember, when I really upset everybody in Granbury, but it was we tried to put information out in Granbury as early as we could, and so we had this information out there before a lot of other school districts had it in their community. And we put down positions as questionable, trying to give folks as much time, full year and a half, to know that position may or may not be there at some point. And so people were really upset, thinking that we were cutting their jobs, that we were going to cut them and send them packing. And for folks to think that's a real low point. And what we were trying to do is just eliminate positions through attrition, and actually that's what we've been able to do. We have literally been able to eliminate positions by attrition, and where we've actually taken over $9.9 million out of this budget, and we've not had to look anybody in the eye and tell them they don't have a job because we don't have the money. So that part's huge, but just to go through that whole process of eliminating $9.9 million out of a $54 million budget, that's got to be the lowest point in my life.
And what do you think the future holds for the Granbury School District?
I think Granbury School District will always, or should always, be in the top 80%. I mean, the top 20% of the school districts. We should beat 80% of the other districts, which is what we're doing right now. That's where our academics is. It's better than 80% of the schools in the state of Texas. So the academics should be there, always be there, to stay focused. Got a great group of teachers. Don't see that changing. Now, I will say, our economic disadvantaged groups has grown from like 34% to 48%. So, we've got some of that. But I know the finances is going to be an issue. The finances are going to continue to be an issue for a while. As I think it'll be the 2015 session, legislative session, before we may get some financial relief. If the litigation, we were to prevail in the litigation. But I think there's some good things. It doesn't mean it's going to be an easy road. It's going to be lots of hard work, lots of hours, lots of frustration on teachers' parts. Just the sheer stars and end of course exams coming up, the accountability system coming. Teachers are going to have to learn new ways of teaching, new ways of presenting material, new material. Most of the material is being pushed down a grade. What used to be taught in 5th grade is going to 4th. What was in 2nd grade's going to 1st, and so those are going to be some struggles. And then the end of course exam, where you've got to have 100% of the kids passing right now. Now we hope by 2015 they tweak that somewhat. Otherwise, it's going to be some tough days ahead for kids to be able to get that high school diploma. If you don't get that high school diploma, you're looking at the dropout rate soaring. But that'll be all over the state of Texas. But I still think Granbury can be in the top 20%.
All right. Thank you.